how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, just wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL, and Hoover, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the juice. Yeah, I got the juice. Whip game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing it.
I don't wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, I still spin inside your orbit. Yeah. You say that I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay, cause I'm floating in your orbit. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. It's my luck, put me away, you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand, call my name, you understand, I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. It's my luck, put me away, you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand, come on, please, you understand, I wanna stay. I wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, still spinning inside your orbit. I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay, cause I'm floating in your orbit. Pull me back, take my hand, call my name, you understand, I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. It's my luck, put me away, you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand, call my name, you understand, I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Pull me back, take my hand, call my name, you understand, I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away.
It's a new week and a new tournament here, and that means a fresh slate for all of our teams entering into this week for Conference 1 Valorant. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you're just joining us here. My name is Possible. Alongside me for today is Door. I'm going to be taking you through today's game between Embry Riddle and Longhorn Gaming, and this should be a pretty interesting one, Door.
Yeah, I don't think we could have actually asked for a better one. Embry Riddle has been looking pretty solid throughout all the tournaments. UT Austin's been a mixed bag. I felt like towards the latter parts of the last tournament, we saw a lot better things out of UT Austin, but times change and metas change, and now with a lot of the agent changes, things become more and less powerful. I think Killjoy is one of those ones that you really want to be looking out for. Breach is definitely going to be heavily utilized today as the Phoenix kind of falls out of favor with the flash buff, so some really interesting stuff, and I don't think these teams have had time to adapt to a lot of the new pro metas and just play whatever the pros are. They're going to have to be doing things on the fly and on their own.
Well, and let's talk about where we're going to be going. First up, it's going to be Bind as Longhorn. They won the coin flip. They will be banning Ascent. So Embry Riddle, they picked Bind, and then Longhorn got to pick the defense. Bind's still a pretty defender-favored map, so I think you count this as a win if you are Longhorn Gaming. It is worth noting that the last time these two teams faced up against each other, Embry Riddle did take it in a 2-0 fashion against UT Austin. So I think starting off on the defense on Bind, that's definitely going to be a feather in their cap, but UT Austin, they're going to have to come out with those new agent changes and show us that they've been able to adapt.
Yeah, just as important as it is to get the map pick underway and end up on the defensive side of Bind, that's nice and all. But getting the first ban in this sort of format is always just comfortable because normally you're playing this back and forth game of chicken of who's going to ban Split? Are you going to ban Split? I'm not going to ban Split. No, you're going to ban Split. Well, nobody bans since there's only one. Longhorns get to leave it up in the map pool, and then it just stays there hauntingly. Neither team wants to pick it, but if it ends up becoming the third map, then it's effectively an insurance policy for Longhorn, right? If they end up winning this first one, since they get the defense first, they go to the second map, lose. They should almost guaranteed have a third map because of the defender's advantage starting off there. Right. So they've played this pick ban extremely well. I think the Haven, or the Ascent ban rather, was something that is going to work very well for them, and we'll be feeling the effects of it throughout the series.
Well, and I think if you're either one of these teams, you want to just get a 2-0, right? You don't want to end up on the third map because, like you said, with Ascent being the map ban, not Split, that means it's going to be a coin flip to see who gets side selection if we go to a third map. And I think either one of these teams would rather not risk that. We are going to be starting off here on to Bind. We're into the map, into the game. Nothing too spicy from the defense of Longhorn. They're just playing this standard, it seems.
And you know what is pretty interesting here? No breaches and no ciphers. From both sides, we're seeing Phoenix run, which you usually see whenever people want to lock in something like a Brimstone, because Phoenix is particularly well set up to play with those kind of smokes and those executes. Now Kimchi on the side. That's one pick. If you can back away safely here, that's a great trade, stopping this push altogether. Double dipping even. It's coming for a little bit more, but the plant should be going down here in a second.
Oh, enticed. You're thinking about it. He went for a bit of a trade there. Got a lot of damage onto X-Tree, but that is Reyna. If you just hit this headshot, you're going to be able to heal up. Oh, not the headshot they were looking for, but enough bodies to where the result is the same. Now it's all down to the lone Reyna. Position is known too. Just going to have to run over to that B site. Going to be all alone for this retake.
It's going to be particularly tricky. She's going to have one layer to try and do this one. Catch that on the Killjoy. The Nano Swarm's down on the ground, or rather the Alarm Bot. Becoming real trouble. I mean, this is just a hard double angle to be taking just with a Ghost. The odds you pull it off is slim, but you need perfect clicks. One headshot plus the heal. She knows where this angle is, knows where the peak is coming from, but HP is too low. Gearx going to finish off the round for Longhorn after things got dicey.
Yeah, Gear Rex really pulling out there. I mean, that's the bonus of Reyna on a pistol, right? You get one pick, and it snowballs from there. Even though you were running into a 1v2, the fact that Gear Rex was able to take those engagements one at a time, rather than having to swing with both, worried about both angles at the exact same time, really enabled that Reyna to get that overheal, get the armor, and then pop off from there. Good start for Longhorn Gaming. A long way to go, though. And, you know, players can only clutch out on pistols so many times in a map.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to give a lot of the credit there over to Kimchi. Those first couple of picks slowed everything down, disallowed the spike from going down, and Tice was able to hold on just long enough. And Gearx, cleaned up the round. It looked nice, but if you don't start off by giving a little bit of pressure back to that push, then all of a sudden Spike's down, they've got Killjoy utility on top of it, and you're just in a bad position. Now, though, they've won a round, they've got weapons to work with, but the attacking side has force bought in.
Yeah.
Streve is looking for them with this stinger.
Gearx is all alone, does spot the one there. And here's the Phoenix Flash, so should know that there is a pretty heavy commitment over towards that B-long side. Oh, a little bit late on the Lear, though. Good start for Embry Riddle, and now Mr. Catfish all alone on site. Does have to dance around these attackers, won't be able to do so there. Stinger still pretty good, especially at that range. Comico's going to throw out that Owl Drone too and just delay this retake. It's 3v4 for this. Entice, I don't believe he has enough utility to reliably take elbow right now. And he goes close range into a stinger. That's never what you want to see for him.
No. Kimchi up. Swing, batter. You know what they say? 3 strikes, you're out. We're 1 deep here. Have to get one on the way
Nice.
in. Look at a double here. Locking it down again. The Omen in a fantastic position. It's 2v2, but a double angle in sight could make things tricky.
Oh, but that's enough. That's enough. Beautiful work there. And a great swing. Kimchi, kind of nasty on these, honestly. I don't think we've seen this guy miss a headshot thus far. Gets that defuse in plenty of time, but it is a very expensive round in terms of how many players went down for Longhorn Gaming. That being said, because Embry Riddle force bought that, they're not going to be able to get guns. They're not going to be able to really take advantage of it. So you really just set the momentum of both these teams economy-wise back 1 round.
Yeah, and actually, I think Longhorn Gaming, so they're obviously in a worse position than they were last round. If Embry Riddle are able to track the cash well enough right now, they would know that another force buy would be extremely deadly, right? You're taking those 50-50s, but it would be a dead even round. Both of you are effectively buying out here, but no, they'll take their foot off the gas pedal. The aggression will be tempered for the time being. They set up to play into the half buy of Longhorn. Now, they're able to play this 2B setup because they have the Killjoy, so it obviously changes the way that you normally play bind a fair bit. Instead of playing 3B with one of them on flexible rotate over to A, you're now playing 2 with a very stagnant A site. So they need to be decisive about stopping these pushes before they come in.
2 players will be spotted there, and the turret gives information that there's some more up into Hookah. I believe that was a little bit of a tag there onto the Phoenix, so not bad. Certainly from Mr. Catfish. Gonna use that first swarm grenade, and Kimchi, meanwhile, has just slaughtered the players creeping up A short. This is an ambitious rotate here from Embry Riddle. They really don't have much information except for where the Phoenix is playing, and they're gonna have to go through a smoke too. This gets dicey real quick.
I mean, you have to remember, they're running in with pistols. There's not too much they can realistically do about a lot of these angles to eliminate them, especially having a Killjoy. The chicken's just such a problem. I mean, these are effectively free peeks for Kimchi. Double dipping's a little bit aggressive, but you know what? I respect going for the ace here. Piva's going to peek out.
30
See
seconds
what kind of
left.
data they can
One
find
area
out. Now,
remaining.
it's a double peek, beautifully run by the defense. Longhorn Gaming hold on to a lot of their weapons, so they should be able to turn this 4th actually into a bonus round if they want to.
Yeah, absolutely they can. I mean, jeez, Kimchi. You know, you brought him up at the very beginning, Thor. Kimchi is just kind of nasty with it. He's going to upgrade himself to a Vandal, too. Has more than enough money that in this quote-unquote bonus round can just buy an actual rifle, right? And if he's going to be able to lock down A short so effectively, I want to see Embry Riddle do one of 2 things. Either ignore him entirely or hard commit and force him off. You know where this Omen is playing. It's risky to go for that push down A short considering how powerful the paranoia is at that angle.
Cover going out.
But you got to play around the information you have one way or another.
Yeah, it's important to note where these 2 Vandals are. They're on the Phoenix and the Omen specifically, so they're both on A site. B is a little bit of a vulnerability, but Embry Riddle don't know that for the time being. Well, the big thing that I need is either the Sova gathering information or the Sova playing the close angle, because right now, with the Owen playing in lamps, very susceptible to multiple people running at him, catching him with his pants down when he's trying to go for a paranoia. We'll see if he can hold on, though.
He's got that paranoia at the ready. Doesn't know where the Hunter's Fury is coming from, so does have to give a little bit control while he is nearsighted. Oh, Entice, the trigger discipline, a little bit too disciplined there. Waits too long to actually fire and gets spotted by Embry Riddle. So now both those players with the actual Vandals have been eliminated, and it hasn't cost Embry Riddle much of anything. Gearrex is going to try and retake lamps here. Clears are going to help him out, but Ingram is just not going to be able to make that happen very easily. It's a very difficult retake, but it is a bonus round, so it would be surprising if Longhorn actually went for a save here instead of trying to just take some guns away from Embry Riddle.
Yeah, and this kind of comes to show you need to have flexibility when you play Killjoy. You need to understand where your strengths and your weaknesses are. They had 2 close-range weapons playing over on the B site, and they had a very open A site playing with 2 Vandals. And while it's nice that you have those long angles that you can play, they didn't use either of them, right? Entice waited too long to take his shot, and Kimchi was playing over in the lamps where you're not actually going to get to use that. Well, it's not even an advantage. You're playing into even weaponry, but get to play at range, right? You've got all these close-range weapons that could have held that corner instead of you, but instead, they effectively nullified themselves by holding so far back or playing for the retake. So I much rather would have seen the 2 players from B either trade guns over or move over to play some of the closer angles on A, or at least give them a little bit of help with the utility. But we are where we are. Let's see what Longhorn can get up to. It was a bonus round last time, so they should have at least weapons in their hand. Back into the B site come Embry Riddle, though, and all this Killjoy util is going to reveal itself shortly.
The turret has been eliminated. Oh no, actually it has not. It's just moved from where it was last time. So a good variance in setups here. Shock darts, nano swarms, gonna make it pretty difficult there for Mr. Catfish to survive backside. I believe has to go into the box to evade all of that utility. The box is a very safe position. The Owl drone from Endorsey, who has rotated over, is gonna get a good bit of information. There's the runner back going straight onto site. Leers to pair with it. Counter Leers too, though, so not a ton of space actually gained by Embry Riddle. They're going to trade 1-for-1 on the player in box, and Gearrex peeks out at just the wrong time. That dart is going to reveal players toward the back of site too, so this becomes very tricky. It all comes down to the timing here. Endorsey not able to quite make that happen against Extreme. While Kimchi is on a very strong angle right here. It's just too much for him to work again.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that Embry Riddle have figured out what this B defense looks like. Right, you're running a Reyna who's reliant on the Leers, and we haven't seen the Killjoy actually trade off on any of the Leers. They're both effectively playing individual angles. Mr. Catfish is playing off of his utility on B, and then Gearrex is constantly playing over towards Gardens, trying to find some sort of Leer to get an advantage there, but neither of those have really paid off. We need a little bit of counter aggression, a gut check, effectively, to make sure that Embry Riddle doesn't feel like Hookah is just free space that they can walk into on every round. And I think this might be it from Gearrex. It's a good opportunity to send them a little bit of a message. Even if you don't find all the frags here, it's still an important position for them to hold. Now 5 members set up and a push from Kimchi. Even on the save round, this could be big.
Is he going to actually push out the smoke? He will, and gets the first headshot at least, so not a half bad trade there for Kimchi. You'll take that one every time. And Dorsey crept around too. Doesn't actually go for the upgrade on the Sheriff. Doesn't want to give his position away with the noise that it would make. Instead, just going to creep back towards the B site. And Express doesn't have that paranoia anymore. Doesn't have a way to actually remove anyone or give himself an advantage going into Hookah. So instead, it just has to be 4 members committing to B long here. This gets so risky for Embry Riddle. And yeah, they do have a pretty heavy firepower advantage, but that can go away very quickly if people just hit some nice Sheriff shots. The second Nanoswarm will be eliminated, so now you can look for Embry Riddle to start playing a little bit more forward, get a little bit more frisky with this push, but nah, it's all the bait. It's all back to A.
Oh, this is gross, although this might be figured out. Express goes down with the spike.
That's a spike!
That's massive for Longhorn.
Dorsey, he's got an actual Vandal too. He was able to pick it up off that frag that Kimchi got. Mr. Catfish now on the angle. The crossfire there, giving cover, and now the Hunter's Fury, it's just there to buy time. They can't pick up the spike because they can't risk getting taken out by that or the lockdown coming out from Mr. Catfish. They're just going to have to back up Embry Riddle and save their gun.
Wow, it was such a good round for Embry Riddle as well until you went in with the spike. It's one of those things, one mistake will throw away the entire round for them. I mean, if that goes off without hitch, he gets the information, maybe even dies on the way there. It's not the end of the world, but the spike going down just sealed that round out, having the Hunter's Fury and everything. It's a huge boost now to Longhorn. They take away a round, and they leave with a whole boatload of guns still in their back pocket. Now Embry Riddle, they get to come in, but it's going to be a hit to their economy, and it's something that Longhorn have been really trying to work on. Those 2 rounds were extremely impactful for Embry Riddle and being able to build up their economy. Well, it's about time that started getting torn down. They're using the same setup on defense here to try and get that done, but you know what? It worked last round, why not give it another go? Killjoy util set up the same way it was over on round 1. Nanoswarm right in front of Hookah, the chicken on the site. Again, I would like to see them use a little bit of counter aggression here to really hold their ground, but as long as Embry Riddle don't come in and kind of abuse this open space like they have been in rounds prior, Longhorn are going to be all right, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Embry Riddle know what kind of space that they're taking up.
Yeah, that alarm bot spotted players pretty early. Owl drone committed too. They know that this is 5 players towards that B site, and they know it's going to be a heavy hit. Already the Phoenix has rotated over. Mr. Catfish's position will be given away, and that box is not a very safe place to hide behind. Suddenly things fall apart for Longhorn as they have nobody left on the site, and they're just going to have to take a retake.
Planted.
I mean, let's be real, man. It's starting to get predictable. This B defense, time and time again, is set up exactly the same way almost every single round here. That's unfortunate. It's found out now, and I think even with 4 players, I would think about saving this frog Longhorn.
Durex struggling to get control over that elbow position too. Oh, if Entice had gotten that second one, there might have been an opportunity, but now you have to imagine it's just going to be the save. 2 versus 4. I mean, Gearrex is in elbow, so he's kind of stuck here. He kind of has to go for the commit and go for some frags. Does have the dismiss, will be able to clear out one angle, but this is such a dangerous position for him to go for. There's not much time remaining here. I don't even think there's enough to defuse, even if you wanted to, Kimchi. He'll get the last kill, but he'll lose his Vandal anyways. Still the round over to Embry Riddle.
I've said it 100 times, Paul. That's a round that you can put up on the fridge, but you can't take it to the bank. It's still another up on the board for Embry Riddle. And realistically, they're breaking even on economy, which is fine. Longhorn lost the round. They're not breaking even on economy. That was so much worse for them. The spy is going to be piecemeal. They're working on a little bit of armor. Embry Riddle barely take a hit. And like I said, they already had rounds to go in their back pocket. They already built up their trust funds, their 401ks. They're sitting pretty. They're investing smartly in themselves. And it's crazy what an economy can actually do for you, right? Embry Riddle have invested at the right times, and it shows that you can win an economy even if you're losing in rounds. The scoreline 4-3, but that could change very quickly given this economic advantage.
We do see a switch up finally here for the defense of Longhorn Gaming. They're going to move that Killjoy over to the A site, and it seems to have the Sova of Endorsi just hover a bit onto these rotates. Actually a pretty quick full commitment, full rotate over towards this A site. This can get risky. This fight can still TP through this portal right here, although, oh, Nomicals. Spotted by that recon dart. Had to get out of dodge. That's a lot of control given back over to Longhorn Gaming. The Owl Drone is going to clear out. Actually go through the... No, it didn't quite have enough distance to go through the teleporter there, so you have to teleport back, or rotate back, rather, for Longhorn.
Yeah, the main issue here now being that they've seen the Killjoy util over on A. I think you have to commit to a 3-man stack on B and effectively play a normal setup and rely on that Killjoy util to get you back in should you need a retake on A. But they're doing the opposite of that. They're playing retake on B with no Killjoy util to be had on site. This Reyna is going to have to frag out, and Tyson's going to have to pull out something crazy if they want to win this round.
30 seconds
Tyson
left.
have the run back available. Could use it to try and contest here. Is going to run out rather aggressively. And it does seem that Gearrex will be able to get that first, but they knew exactly where he's playing it. And Tice gets caught. The run it back, beautifully predicted there by TFG with the Nano Swarm. Just punishes the pull back to the body.
10 seconds left.
Kimchi's not going to get anything here. Just go for the save, Longhorn. You've got no health on one captain. And Dorsey does get caught here. 5 health. Honestly, Embry Riddle could just hunt this last gun down.
And this is kind of the issue that we see a lot of the time when people run Killjoy. It's just kind of a misunderstanding of where she should be used. And Killjoy isn't like Cypher, right? Cypher's util generally staying in one place, generally anchoring down in one part of the map. Killjoy is a lot more flexible than that, going to both sites, rotating her around. You can play a lot of parts of the map, but you need to recognize what that means to both you and the opposing side. And there, I feel like Embry Riddle played much better around Longhorn's Killjoy than Longhorn was able to do themselves. Now their economy not going to be too great. Embry Riddle, this is where they start really pulling ahead in this game. The score might be even, but I can tell you for a fact that it won't be for very long as long as Embry Riddle are able to seal out these anti-ecos. I'm curious to see now what kind of setup that Longhorn go with, because I do like running the Killjoy on A, especially on the rounds where you're going to be at a lesser econ. Kind of negates that range advantage a little bit, gives them something to deal with on the A site, because you don't want to be playing retake with pistols. It's never a good time, so stopping the push on A becomes much more of a priority when you have this little cache. And you can see they're setting up the Killjoy here. I like the anchor. Let's see if they can rotate around it.
And it is just the hero Killjoy, right? The hero Vandal, one rifle on that A site. A little bit surprising that we didn't see just a heavy stack in an eco round here. Still, Longhorn, even on pistols, even on ecos, they're just playing some default positions across the map here. That recon dart, ooh, that is a nice bounce there. I like that angle. Owl Drone 2 actually coming out of hookah there, so you're going to be forced off the angle there if you're Gearrex. Alir a little bit early there, and that flash is a little bit low from Entice to actually catch the players up in hookah. Nomicals will take him down with a shock dart there. Does get traded out, though. Mr. Catfish does hear the teleports. Gonna go back over toward that A site. Kimchi, he's hit some nuts shot with these Sheriffs before. I believe he actually heard the one. He's gonna go for the aggressive swing. Is in front of the Lear so it doesn't get blinded, but there's just too much firepower there for him to deal with.
So far, Longhorn have actually played this round fantastically. The rotates have been on point. The Killjoy util was still there to help out. Catfish, though, not it's all gone. You got to do it the old-fashioned way. Bullets and a whole lot of elbow grease. There goes TFG down, trading out their counterpart now with the numbers advantage. Longhorn, who weren't supposed to win this round, are looking fantastic. So they just got to clean up Pyro, and they've done exactly that. One more to go in Express. They've got 2 members to do it. They'll pick it off the back of Lear is going to force them back for the time being, despite taking down in all that time.
That's so low. Mr. Catfish doesn't have a lot of health. Both players know where the other are, and they're hiding behind very wall-bangable boxes, going for the stick right now. Mr. Catfish, this is so risky. Express is right there! And just barely, Embry Riddle are able to get that round, courtesy of Express.
Wow, that was close. Good clutch by Express, and that's a loss that Embry Riddle can afford to take, right? You win the round, but you lose a bunch of cash with it, but with their economy, it's going to be absolutely no problem. My hat's off to Longhorn. They made something out of a round that absolutely should not have been. They got a bunch of frags. It's a shame they weren't able to come out on top and take a couple weapons out of it, but their rotations look cleaner than they ever have before, and it kind of tells me that they're learning, right? They're playing a lot better in predicting what Embry Riddle are going to be doing. And they are going to keep the 3-man A setup. They really like this Killjoy over here. I can't fault them. I feel like the rounds have looked a lot cleaner, and they've been more naturally rotating around it. But at some point, Embry Riddle have to realize, yeah, this B site is a lot easier to take now.
Oh, and I mean, this is such a forward position here from Gearrex, too. Oh, great Lear. Oh, Gearrex is done for. No chance that he was going to be able to pull that one off. The Owl Drone there isn't even going to stall out Embry Riddle. It's not the ideal lockdown as it doesn't clear the very back, so there are still angles here to re-enter from it. A great in-and-out kill there from Indorsey, but an even better Hunter's Fury knew exactly where the defenders were going to be coming from. And Indorsey, you can do as much work as you want here in elbow, but you're all alone. There's just 33 health. A bullet will put you down as long as it hits your body. That flash, not ideal angle there, but honestly, it's just a stall time. And Dorsey, it's just a question of how much damage can he do before he goes down at this point.
Yeah, so now there is kind of 2 things that Embry Riddle are looking for in every one of these rounds. It's A, do they spot the Killjoy out early on A? And B, do they spot the Killjoy chicken out over on A? Because no matter where this chicken has been, it's been on top of something. Whether that be Sightbox, whether that be on top of the U-Haul truck, whether that be on top of the Radionite box, it's on A. It's always been somewhere visible before they actually push the site. So as long as they figure out where that Killjoy is, they can push off the back of it, because for whatever reason, wherever this Killjoy is, they tend to be stacking all their util there, right? That round, we saw the Killjoy playing over on A along with the Omen. What would have helped that B push to hold a lot better? Well, a dark cover heading over to Hookah would have slowed things down exponentially, but all the utils being used over on A right now. And if Embry Riddle peek their nose in, recognize that the Killjoy is still there, I can almost guarantee you they'll be seeing a rotate.
I'm not sure if it's door going robot or if it's me, but we're going to keep this on moving regardless. Still an eco here for Longhorn. Not in the ideal position, and that flash isn't going to get Entice out of lamps. Just going to stall Embry Riddle for a moment, but the plant will happen regardless. And with Entice going down, that's a very strong position given over to Embry Riddle. And Dorsey will get spotted going up into heaven too. Aldrin's going to go out. Maybe you can get 1 tag. Maybe you can get 1 frag out of that, but no. No information really gained here. Gearrex just going to try and take into lamps. Very close player here. Need a headshot. And Gearrex will actually grab that one. Upgrades too onto a better gun. So things aren't done and dusted yet. Gearrex on the Rainer can always make a clutch happen. Has a feeling that somebody's playing down A short, not quite on the right angle as of yet. That Lear will go out, and while it's keeping one at bay, he's able to go for the stick, able to go for the fake, and able to grab this, but it's just not enough time. He has to abscond, keep his gun, and another round for Embry Riddle.
That's painful. That was a gorgeous Lear too to clutch it out. It's another round on the board. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much I can fault Longhorn. They've scrapped together rounds, even at an economic disadvantage. They've managed to find frags, mostly off the back of Gearrex and Kimchi, finding massive impact frags in a lot of these rounds. The rotations, though, have been firmly in control of Embry Riddle. They've got 1 more round to prove their dominance here. An 8-4 half on the attacking side of Bind would just be, quite frankly, extremely impressive, and they should be able to close it out after that. But Longhorn are going to go back to the trusty B play with their Killjoy. The chicken back up on site box. So Embry Riddle likely to push this one slow. They're either going to wait to take out all that util or spot the chicken and rotate back onto A.
It is worth noting Longhorn Gaming have a near smorgasbord of ultimates. They've got 4 available, and I believe Entice isn't too far from his. Just slow play from Embry Riddle right now. They've gotten a lot of control up towards B-Long, but they haven't pushed into Garden yet, and therefore their position is not known. Same with Paiva right now. Hasn't actually peeked out into the sightline of that turret on top of the B-box. And actually, it'll get destroyed before he does. That hot hands didn't quite land where Paiva was hoping for, but Killjoy is forced all the way back regardless. Doesn't even want to go for this contest. Just going to place the lockdown down so that you can try to go for an early retake here. And Embry Riddle, they're just going to get the heck out of dodge. Everybody goes through the TP. Kimchi is here, though, on a very risky but potentially powerful angle. Knows that absolutely nobody is going through short.
30
and Dorsey
seconds left.
can just peek out, potentially flee people. He's got the Hunter's Fury too, denies the plant, puts the spike on the floor to boot. And this gets very hard for Embry Riddle. They've only got 18 seconds remaining. They don't have the spike. They don't have the time. They don't have the players anymore either. It's all Express, and he's going to go down. Longhorn Gaming will salvage that last round.
You know,
Switching
when
sides.
Longhorn find the correct rotates, I feel like their team play is actually really good. When they're on site before and they get a plan, they're trading out well, they're using double angles appropriately, their entry fraggers are extremely confident. I really, really like a lot of the things I see from a micro perspective from that, whether that be individual aim or, like I said, trading out kills, peeking and working with one another appropriately. It just seems more on the larger scale, how to play around this Killjoy, because Killjoy very much does change the dynamic of how a team should be moving around the map, or how they should be rotating the sites. Now on the attacking side, they get to be a little more flexible with that. I think this is where they can start playing around, relying on maybe taking those solo duels, pushing in with 2 people, and just trying to find pressure across the map in other ways. And the onus is a lot less on them to actually hold on to a lot of these things and make the rotations and be reactive. They can make the first choice on almost every one of these rounds.
Recon dart. Ooh, evaded there masterfully by Xtreme, and he will be able to get out of there like a bandit, gets 1 kill, and gets the heck out of dodge. Now he's holding on this very strong angle, doesn't really get flashed by that either, and they have no idea he's there. The low health and tight, not able to do anything. Extreme with the frenzy, he's a madman door. He's already gotten 3, spots the spike and everything. This is falling to pieces for Longhorn.
That was gorgeous by Extreme. I mean, during Flash, managed to get the Banshee out as well. That is just disgusting. Now back up in Hookah. There is full control here. It's almost definitely going to go down. I mean, the ace is on the board.
Give him the ace. Kimchi's not in the right spot at all right now to give him the ace right now. So, come on, Kimchi. You got to take out Paiva. It'd be a nasty flick. No, okay. Paiva will deny Xtreme the ace, but it's still a very clean round for Embry Riddle. You're not upset by that at all. Whatsoever.
I think we do need to take a second to remind viewers that the 1.11 patch is scuffed as all hell. So the blue team on the top of your screen, Longhorn Gaming, is still on the attacking side. Embry Riddle is now on the defensive side. His teams maintain their colors, but the kill feed will be the inverse of such, with the defenders, Embry Riddle, being blue and Longhorn Gaming being red. Apologies for the confusion. It's not us. We swear. It's just Riot. Now let's take a look at this defense that we've got set up. It's very, very similar to the stuff that Longhorn was actually placing up earlier, except there's a lot less pressure on this Killjoy util. It's much less easy to actually figure out where this defense is playing heavy towards.
Paranera was baited out there pretty early here. Paiva still has a decent amount of flashes, so there's still a lot of stall time that can be taken off, especially with those one-way smokes coming out on the A site. Good frag there from Nomicals too. I mean, had a gun advantage at range. You expect that he's going to be able to get that kill. Mr. Catfish sitting on just 3 HP. If you have this guy go first, he's going to get killed by the turret. So he's got the spike too. This seems pretty risky, Door.
This is a recipe for disaster. I mean, I've just got a gut feeling he goes down to this. No, okay. It's taken out now. The attackers start pushing in. There's a lot of Killjoy util to deal with, though.
And the Lears too. Oh, X-Tree
One enemy remaining.
is going to get cleared up by Gear Rex, but the angle Gear Rex had to come around to actually get that frag means there's no chance that he is able to deal with the players behind him coming out of the defender's spawn. Great work from Embry Riddle, and now it's a 9-5 lead.
That was basically a textbook display of how to play around Killjoy util on B. It's much more passive, right? Whenever you're playing Killjoy on B here, normally when you think of Find, you think of B as the site that you really don't want to be retaking. Killjoy kind of flips that on its head. If you have the util, especially all stacked on site, and you line up 5 players around the outside, the second that the opposing team pushes in, you pop all the util on them, the turret comes online, and then you rush in on the back of it, and all of a sudden they're playing effectively what feels like a 7 versus 5, and there's just hell breaking out on site. There was very little that Longhorn could actually do to stop that retake from coming in. They needed to deal with the util early on into the round, but weren't able to due to time constraints. Now, let's see what Embry Riddle can do, because they're nearing the point where we get into those dangerous rounds of Longhorn losing the economy, Embry Riddle coming out ahead and forcing a match point.
Longhorn have to make something happen. Piver early forced to back off there. Express though, cover angle. Piver, how do you?
Oh boy.
How do you let that happen? Oh, this is disastrous for Longhorn. They don't take a gun. They don't take a kill. They don't take even a feather in their cap away from that round. There's nothing gained there. Everything going wrong for Longhorn, and a beautiful lead now for Embry Riddle.
Embry Riddle just impressed me more on the defensive side. These strongholds are really, really good. They've got a really strong fundamental understanding of how they should be playing these sites given the agents. There's a lot of talk about people trying to CSGOify Valorant, but it's not. It's different. You need to be playing around specific agents, playing in specific places around the map, and Embry Riddle have a very, very strong idea of how they should be doing that. Now they're playing into pistols. This 11th round is all but guaranteed, save for maybe Kimchi finding 5 heads.
X-Tree is in a very risky spot, and this is a good push for the likes of Longhorn Gaming. They've still got one player to deal with, though. TFG. Back of sight. Will get tagged by that shock dart. Suddenly a very vulnerable Killjoy. So if you can actually get onto this site, if you can actually pressure that Killjoy, you'll be able to get that frag more than likely, but it's still Killjoy. There's still a lot of utility between Longhorn and that that player. Express will get traded 1-for-1, and Dorsey picking up that gun off of X-Tree, and now it seems that Longhorn, they're content with the fact that they've probably drawn rotates over toward that B site. They want to pivot this back to A, but it's taken them a good bit of time, and Embry Riddle have the read.
Yeah, they have range as well, which is the biggest thing here. These pistols are going to be at fall off, trying to shoot in towards heaven. And they can continue to use that advantage. Dorsey is moving in with 23 HP. If he peeks this angle, he is dead. Nomical showing exactly what that range advantage can do. It's just a Phoenix, really. To deal with on that side lane. Oof. Fantastic stuff on this over. That is just clinical.
And Dorsey did seem to drop that gun he was using earlier, so now he's just got the ghost, just 23 health. He's going to get cleared out sooner rather than later by TFG. And we are nearing ever closer toward that first map point. Remember, you really wanted to get bind more than anything if you were Longhorn. Started off on the defense here, but it is just not going their way. A very difficult lead to surmount now.
It's a really difficult position as well for them to be in. You're heading into potentially a match point round after this if you lose it. And on that round, you're going to have next to no cash. And Dorsey and Entice might be able to afford some rifles, and that's at the cost of armor and other abilities. So this is definitely the round that they want to win on the attacking side, but they have struggled 4 rounds straight of Embry Riddle just shutting this attack down constantly. And now there's an Empress in tow to try and help do it. And oh my lord, they look like they're ready to push this one. Let's find a frag and try and go off on it. Extreme though, a little bit more reserved than that. A little classier, Paul.
Very aggressive push from Longhorn Gaming. They're not wasting any time, or they've already postured themselves up, ready to blitz onto the B site. Lear's Killjoy utility though, it keeps them at bay. Gearrex desperately trying to get onto one, and the players will get cleared out on site. A little bit bloody there, a little bit dicey, but Longhorn get it done, and they'll get this spike planted, or maybe not. The Hunter's Fury even taking out in Dorsey. Great work there. The spike will get planted eventually, unless that's a very special shock dart angle, but no, it was recon dart going on early there. Nomicals will get one with the shock dart though. This guy's kind of nuts, honestly. And with Piper getting that frag too, Kimchi has been able to get some stuff done before, some crazy clutches on other rounds, and he'll get it done this time too. A much needed round for Longhorn Gaming.
I wouldn't take anybody other than Kimchi in that 1v2. They were very happy that he was alive. Big clutch from the Omen that from round 1 has really been a massive impact fragger for Longhorn Gaming. But it's about trying to turn this one around. They've got a couple of rounds on. I thought their execute on to be there was pretty good. They were happy to take down the Killjoy very early into the push so that util didn't become much of a problem. Instead of playing retake with the util, it was more retake with a couple people, and the Killjoy tried to stomp the push with the util. Which again, it's another way of doing it, especially since they already had all 5 players there. They thought that they could go for a full hold. Unfortunately, it was a really good job by Longhorn Gaming of fragging out. And that's the one thing that I feel like they actually do better than Embry Riddle, right? When it comes down to these aim duels, when it comes down to these little interpersonal trades, they do fantastically. And if we can see them lean into that, if we can see them just, you know, pull up the corners and peek some of these hard without any util, I think we see Longhorn pull together a couple more rounds.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Already the early run it back there, committed by Piver just for some info, and Express there to actually get that trade too onto Entice. So now you don't have those Phoenix flashes to take this B site. It does keep a couple players over on that side of the map for a while though, so it is a heavy player advantage onto this take for Longhorn Gaming. They don't have the spike quite down yet. They don't have elbow control, and PSG, he just splices into the attacking lines and puts the spike on the floor. Suddenly everything so dicey here. Surrounded are the members of Longhorn Gaming. They're going to definitely try to go for this plant, but Express, he's ready to deny it once again. Won't hit the paranoia, but doesn't even need to. Gearhead just had 10 health.
It's Kimchi though.
Once again, Kimchi left to clutch all alone. Already, he's doing so well, but this time it will evade him. Omen v Omen. Express takes the W rather.
Match
Isn't
point.
that I saw the 1v3 saw it was Kimchi. I was like, yeah, he's got this. I thought that was 50-50. He made it look like it. Fantastic stuff. Again, I think Longhorn Gaming are starting to realize the places where they're playing well, if not just around the map. Specifically, it's hard to recognize a lot of the time when you have a gun advantage or when you have an aim advantage when you're losing a lot of these rounds, but they're definitely recognizing patterns in the places on the map that they're allowed to push and get away with safely. But they feel like they have to change things up. I suspect this is either going to be a standard or an A push trying to pull away some sort of execute. But look on the other side of the map. Really aggressive play from both corners. The defender's moving up on both ends. That's one member down for Longhorn. Another one even takes from the same angle. And as much as Embry Riddle were ready to try and push through Hookah, they know they don't have to. They can just lean back on this 5-man standard, and they should be able to ride this one out.
And they had the owl drone there. That'll spot that one is over by a short. And with this one-way smoke put out by the Omen, there's just even more time. The legs are going to get spotted there of Endorthy. Piver's position has been known here. And Dorsey actually takes that angle himself, looking to see if he can catch him at the wrong time. But Flame Wall there, just going to buy even more time. Embry Riddle, they've been so good about using utility to buy time here. Oh. I thought it was Entice there that fired for a second, but no, he's got a Spectre online instead. So he was just hiding from that run it back. Hunter's Fury, run it back, both committed here. And you will be able to get onto the site. Entice trying to clear this out as much as he can and upgrade himself to a gun if he can. I believe he was able to grab that Vandal before snapping back to his body. Plant will go down. It is a 3 versus 3. Longhorn Gaming, you need to keep everybody alive. You can't be dying on peaks to heaven. Both players in lamps right now. A strong position and bad timing for TFG. Didn't think anyone would be on that close angle there. Oh, and Dorsey, don't push that smoke. Don't do it. You don't know where anybody is right now. And Xtreve knows that you should be in lamps. That smoke is going to expire pretty soon. And Dorsey, he backs out the wrong side. Now it's all down to Gearrex. Has no idea where anyone is except one player probably on the spike. Will get the first. Needs to get the second. They dismissed! But it was just stuck by Express instead. An Express victory delivered to Embry Riddle. And they'll take away the first map of Bind. No, Tor. Oh, man. Unlucky. You call that one unlucky.
I mean, it was one of those split-second decisions, right? You get the first frag, and you pull the intangible thinking that someone's going to be spraying at you immediately after. And you know what? It bit him in the butt. It was one of those ones that had a lot of rounds to go. It felt inevitable that Embry Riddle was going to pull that one away, but hurts a little bit more going that way.
It's a little rough. It's a little rough.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I felt like towards the end of the game, Longhorn looked a lot better. They were playing much more to their strengths. I'm trying to let me double check where we're going to for the
Haven
next map.
next.
Haven, which I think is actually pretty good. A pretty open map, a lot more flexible on the retakes as well, which they like. They're gonna have a lot more long range duels that they can try and take. I think Kimchi has a lot of possibility. You can push down C long. You can be pushing out of garage. You can be pushing up through A. There's so much more flexibility for them to get away with those little bits of aggression that they really seem to be going off with. So not a bad map for them. They've shown improvement already. I think they've got a much better shot at the second one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Although, to remind you, Dor, last time these two teams faced off, Embry Riddle did take the 2-0. They're looking to repeat history as we head on to Haven. We're going to do that after we go to a quick break.
I don't wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, I still spin inside your orbit. Yeah. You say that I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay, 'cause I'm floating in your orbit. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck. Put me on where you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, name. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck. Put me on where you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, please. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. I wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, still spinning inside your orbit. I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay, 'cause I'm floating in your orbit. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, name. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck. Put me on where you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, please. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, name. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away.
Real love, now I see you. Yeah, you know I do to make it through the times we had. I see it now, I see it now. Real love, now I break through to show to you that I'm more good than I am bad. I work it out, I work it out. And I'll be somewhere that you need me, and I'll be holding my breath, waiting for you
Welcome back, everybody, to Conference 1 Valorant. We are one map deep into the brand new iteration of this tournament. And Embry Riddle, they came out looking pretty strong on map number 1 of Bind Door.
Yeah, I mean, really solid team fundamentals as far as the metagame goes. The rotations were on. They were playing their composition, I feel, more cleanly than what we saw out of UTA. It was just a lot better around the map. They were putting themselves in places where they were taking unfair fights. That's one thing you always want to be thinking about in Valorant. You can have the best aim in the world, you can have the best teammates in the world, but if you're not putting yourself in positions to win fights, you're not going to be winning a majority of those fights. And I love what we saw out of Longhorn Gaming a lot of the time. Their fragging potential was through the roof, their team potential was through the roof, but unless they can clean up those rotations and play around each other a little bit better, they're going to be feeling the growing pains of that one more time. Though, we are heading over to Haven, where I think that becomes a lot more flexible and a lot less important, because you can send these little 1-2 man hit squads around the map. You can be pushing angles like A short, up at A long, C is perfectly open, garage, all sorts of shenanigans can be going down there as well. It's very likely that we see compositional swaps. Likely we're going to go off of the Killjoy. She'd get a good bit more strong, but the Cypher tends to be really nice here for just being able to anchor down that C site. But everything's up in the air. I would like to see a little bit more Breach played as well. I know people have been enjoying the Phoenix, but the Breach is a little bit more flexible, especially when you're playing retake a lot of the time here. So it's really up to what kind of changes these teams run around. I don't think Embry Riddle need to change that much, even if they end up running the Killjoy. I don't think there's too much of a change. I think if they can understand how to play a Killjoy composition, I think they can understand how to play around a Cypher. I think the bigger question is more so on the back of UTA. What do they want to, how much do they want to change, and how comfortable are they changing it?
Well, and it is worth noting that this is, you know, the current patch. As most of you are probably aware, the Cypher nerfs have been put into play, right? So Cypher, when he dies, his utility is useless now, right? Trap wires aren't going to do anything for your team. So you have to play a lot more safe, a lot more conservative as a Cypher player, right? You're not going to see, even if people play Cypher, you're not going to see lurks as much, because then you lose trap wires. You're not going to see him playing like a hard anchor on a site. We will be seeing one, or actually both Cyphers coming out for these teams, but both these players, Entice and TFG, gonna have to be very careful. If they get caught early in any of these rounds, suddenly it really wasn't worth them playing Cypher at all.
Yeah, there's actually really interesting swaps. Gearrex moves over to the Phoenix. Mr. Catfish is playing on the Reyna. And like you said, Entice is on the Cypher. So I mean, effectively role swaps here. Like, these are not small adjustments to be making as they approach towards the A site. They're going to run into a good bit of utility, as well as Embry Riddle rotating. So I think you kind of just have to call this one off early. Although they have managed to put Gearrex in a forward position.
Gearrex is probably just here to contest, though. Keep the defenders thinking about this A site. He's going to be falling off now that he's confident he can get away. Mr. Catfish is spotted over toward B, too. So right now, Embry Riddle, they don't have very solid information. They have to stay split across the map. There's some good smokes going out right now from the defense, though, making sure that, you know, you can't really worry about that C long. There will be one smoke into B, or into window, rather, I should say, in garage. So you are going to fall off that angle, and now here comes the hard hit towards that C site. The rotations coming in from Embry Riddle too, and this has taken a while here for Longhorn. They haven't gotten out of this fight. They haven't gotten out of garage, and while Gearrex is going to hit some nice right clicks with the classic, this gets dicey. Much less dicey now, though. They're able to just clean them up. Not necessarily the ideal engagement there for Longhorn, but if you get the frags, it hardly matters.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's why Haven is a pretty good map here for Longhorn. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I think Longhorn just straight up won the pick ban. Like, all in all, they are going to be having the effect of that play out throughout the match. One member left here. TFG should be going down, picking the thing. Well, yep.
Nice.
Gearrex finished him off for a triple on the round, but you saw how quickly they pushed out onto the site. You saw that it turned into just a bunch of bullets flying everywhere, and that's what Longhorn like. That's what they excel at. That's where they're going to be beating Embry Riddle. If Embry Riddle wants to win sites, they need to be rotating to them even earlier, which is crazy because that was already a pretty quick rotate over towards C. I think you can agree with me on that one, but it wasn't a hard hold rotate. It was a rotate to try and retake afterwards, but Longhorn were looking to try and get that spike down and play retake. They were looking to try and kill things, and that they did.
Yeah, and they got to play a little bit with the tempo, right? I mean, a lot of the times when there's a smoke, when there's a Lear going into garage, you expect that immediate hit towards the C site, and you could tell that it didn't really feel like Embry Riddle were prepared for somebody to be contesting them so hard towards that window in garage. Now it's going to be a very hard contest for Embry Riddle out mid, though. Holy moly. This has gotten very bloody very quickly. Entice not risking pushing through that smoke. He will catch the Sova. Oh, hits the headshot, but can't quite get the second one, and now just has to back off as a shock dart and a Cypher player will push onto him. Eurex has gotten into a pretty powerful position here over towards that C site, but there is still the Jet. There is still the Cypher hanging around in mid, and Entice forgot that TFG was just sitting right short of that window there. The spike will get over to C, but this has not been as easy for Longhorn as they were probably hoping for.
There's been a lot of missed shots in this round. This is far from clean.
It's chaotic.
I'm trying to think who would be winning if everybody actually hit their shots. And I think it's Embry Riddle. I think they'd be ahead right now. They've picked up a little bit of weaponry. The HP bars are low, and now it's a 2-man advantage for Longhorn. And like I said, when chaos breaks out, they're the ones who are going to be winning a lot of these, just off gun ability and trading one another out extremely effectively. They've managed to find this C site. And yeah, they had a weapons advantage at the start of the round, but they did have to recover after Embry Riddle made a very, very aggressive push through mid that I like a lot. And you know what? They land on their feet. So hats off to them. They're going to run into this one with likely a bonus. No, they're buying into it, so holding on to the cash they have on a couple of players. It's not exactly dicey. I don't think it's too apprehensible to be going for this. And Dorsey, in fact, could even buy one more player here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant more so for Longhorn, not for Embry Riddle.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, Longhorn will be all right in this round. They have options of either upgrading or saving enough to buy next round, and they're going to go with the latter of those two options. It's one Phantom and enough cash on everybody else to make sure that this is going to be happening no matter what. Regardless of the buy, though, this is a round that's extremely important for Embry Riddle. They've got the weapons advantage, and if you can't beat Longhorn at the weapons game with the weapon advantage, it's going to be a pretty tough thing to pull yourself back from, especially on Haven.
Wow, that was an ambitious push there from Paiva out of that smoke. He won't get punished for it, though. He's doing just fine there. Comicals? Wow, actually, nice game sense. Just fragged through the window there, but unfortunately goes to the reload and didn't expect Eurex to have just slow pushed up towards that B site. Now B is absolutely free for Longhorn Gaming, especially with Paiva being kept out of pushing garage by that owl drone pressure. This is an interesting setup from Longhorn. They're going to go for that late smoke there and force Embry Riddle to try and push through that. An early Lear, I don't know about that one, if I'm being honest there, from Longhorn Gaming. Express coming through the opposite side. Doesn't expect the Silver behind, but Dorsey just with the Ghost out, not able to get it done. It does give Express his position away, though, so still that 1-for-1 trade, and Mr. Catfish in such a strong spot. Even with his position, no one will be able to lock it down.
Dude, Longhorn are on fire right now. They're playing this to a T and playing to their advantage. They're taking gun duels. They're walking around like they own the damn map. And that's kind of how you have to play when you have a gun advantage. You just have to have zero fear. And that's exactly it. Have they rotated? Have they made any complex strategic plays? I mean, there have been a couple good calls here and there, but nothing super deep. They find a frag, they work off it, and they're exploiting Embry Riddle's biggest weakness. From Embry Riddle, I want to see more fluid, more dynamic play. Maybe shift this Cypher around, because, I mean, when was the last time we saw anybody move towards A? It's God knows what, second round, first round? It's been a while. We could start shifting this guy around and start throwing a wrench into Longhorn's plans.
Longhorn honestly seem allergic to the A site right now. They spotted that Cypher util early on and just have been avoiding it like the plague. Well, like the plague.
Oh, there goes Paul. He's roboting out. I'll tell him to reset himself in the call.
Aljone 2 gonna go off and Aljone gonna clear out the C site.
Call, like I said,
counters are
play
for ready here, but this is gonna be a pretty
how much can you
aggressive
find here along the side
pushed
lane?
on to C site
Flash
here.
out and a lot of damage being
Door.
thrown
It
in.
seems like Door is having a very interesting time. It might be Discord here, folks. So maybe I'm a robot too. It's hard to say. Oh,
Stealing sight.
Kimchi up and over now. Spike should be going down here for Longhorn. It's been a pretty clean entrance for them. And now they've got ultimates to work with. Run it back, as well as the Hunter's Fury can start creating real problems for the defenders, especially if you back away from sight like this. They're running 5 back out of C long. It's going to be incredibly hard to retake.
alrighty. Believe I'm good now, hopefully. Express pushing on. He does spot the one blind in the back sight. We'll be able to take that one down. Girex in a very dicey spot on the site right now, but nobody spotted him. Nobody clears him. Eventually, he'll get pushed on. Now it's just 2 versus 2. Real guns and a great position available, though, for the members of Longhorn Gaming. They're going to creep up to the site and go for the frag, not for the spam. And that means the defuse is free. Thrifty for Embry Riddle to regain some momentum.
Nightmares from last game, Paul. And it's coming back to haunt him. One more defuse here to smoke. And that's kind of the downside of being able to push back through there. They did have a Hunter's Fury, and I think they should have been able to hold on to that. Unfortunately, they got traded out very effectively by Embry Riddle, and like I said, whenever Embry Riddle actually have control of something, they're pretty good at actually maintaining it. It's just getting a foothold on 3 sites at the same time is the really hard part of Haven, and what Longhorn are really willing to bank on. Their economy is going to be fine. Embry Riddle, though, putting a round up on the board allows them to start building one of their own. They'll come in with Vandals for the 2nd time in a row now. Let's see exactly what they can make of it, as they've run the same setup that they have been for God knows how long, with the Cypher playing on A, and Longhorn wanting nothing to do with it.
Early flash there forces Paiva a little bit back, but a Flame Wall going to keep control of Garage for Embry Riddle. Longhorn Gaming, they're just playing slow right now, seeing if anybody will get aggressive from Embry Riddle, but doesn't seem like anyone will oblige. Corner going to get cleared out there. Here comes the Owl Drone to fully clear Garage and make sure that control of that goes over to Longhorn Gaming. They love this Garage control. They are going for it time and time and time again. A camera too invested. I'm surprised that we didn't just see Entice push up to physically control that. He will spot that the Phoenix is in that connector hallway. And it seems like Longhorn Gaming, instead, they're just going to bounce on out of that one. Looks to pivot towards this B site, but an Owl Drone is going to spot Kimchi here. In a very risky spot. Instead, going to go for the from the shadows to get himself out of dodge. Goes pretty deep onto that A site, but cancels it to come on right back. Finally, we see an A hit coming out here from Longhorn Gaming. X-Street is being collapsed upon right now, and didn't expect Mr. Catfish to be so close in sewer. Plant will come down, and that Paranoia ain't going to do much of anything from the defense. Hunter's Fury won't stop the spike plant, but it will get one pick. And now it's a 3v3 for the street pick.
I'm actually pretty sure Embry Riddle didn't even consider that an A push was possible. After Longhorn going B and C for so many rounds, like they didn't react to it at all. They didn't rotate. The Cypher saw somebody, didn't believe it, didn't shift his angle to hold any different. The Jet got caught off guard. Like they did not believe that Longhorn were willing to push A there.
Earlier in here, beautiful spray from Mr. Catfish, and Gearrex will pick up the last one up in heaven. Good work from Longhorn Gaming. They will maintain their lead, and Embry Riddle, they don't got much money to work with.
Yeah, that was a sick rotate and great call by the Longhorn. And on a critical round as well, right? You shut down the economy of Embry Riddle for the most part. They could try to scrap something together here. It's not exactly the safest of buys, but they could go for a force and just try and hold on to what they have for the time being. And it wouldn't be the worst option for them. Now, though, now you start getting concerned, because at this point in the last game, Embry Riddle was starting to stack up rounds, starting to come back, starting to take control of the economy. We're seeing much less of that right now. And I think Embry Riddle have to realize where their advantage lies. Another push here. Aggressive from the A. How much can the Jet find? Well, absolutely nothing. And the head's taken square off of his shoulders, and Tice locks it down. And, you know, the A site's been creative, and it's changing things up. But, again, I think if Embry Riddle want to find actual impact in a lot of these rounds, you're going to have to start shifting around which agents go where.
Well, it's interesting that the Jet didn't actually have the Bladestorm at the ready. Instead, had the Classic out there for a push like that. Normally on an eco round, you see the Jet use that Bladestorm, and I believe they had it available, so... On there, and TFG is also going to get caught. Gearrex. I mean, that's both A players dead. I'm shocked that we don't see Longhorn Gaming just pivoting straight to that site, but they're not really struggling elsewhere either. Nomicals has a Marshall, but not an ideal position for it. Is going to use that recon dart just to try and dissuade a C push, but I mean, there's enough players here. Embry Riddle really aren't feeling any kind of pressure. Nomicals, nice shock dart. Dude, this guy's been on with his shock darts today. Gonna throw another one out there. I believe it got a small tag too. Just on this very tight angle, but I'd be surprised if he was able to find anything. Okay, well, call me surprised then. Because he was able to find a nice, pretty point-blank headshot there onto Gearrex. And he or not Gearrex, no, it was Gearrex, rather. And now he knows where at least the Reyna will be playing. This is actually not done and dusted yet. Express, this would be tricky. He doesn't have the Paranoia, and he used his first smoke here. I would kind of like to see him save, Door.
Yeah, I mean, after Nomical's caving in, Gearix is finished with that Marshall. That's all the style points you need for one round. I don't think you can come away with anything better than just a solid economy heading into the next round if you're Embry Riddle. And that was another round where Longhorn, I feel like what they've done, their biggest change up to their play, and I feel like it was the correct change up to their play. Like I said, they're adjusting to what they've been good at. They took their screens, they wrote on little sticky notes the word deathmatch and pasted it at the top of their monitor over the scores. Like, that's all they needed to do. They're confident across the map. They find frags. They're like, screw it, we'll go somewhere else where there's actually people to kill. Like, it's not about where there's not people to go plant the spike. It's about finding the people so you can kill them quicker. It's just a first to 5 deathmatch round. Like, it's something you'd watch Call of Duty, and it's working for them. Rightfully so. I think this is a perfect map for them to be pulling it out on. They need to keep doing it, because Embry Riddle have no clue how to counter it. Although, this Odin is actually pretty cool. No, Nomical's backs away from it. Little bit. Good. Fishy. Yeah,
Odin is
Paul.
a coward gun.
Be quiet, Paul. I know you do. Oh, he does still have it. Was that a graphical glitch? I could have sworn I saw a vandalism. Okay, never mind. Throwing out. Could still get one here. The paranoia is through.
Gearix in a
Holding on
very
now.
risky position. I am shocked he didn't get swung on by Piper there, and this is so unfortunate. Oh, Gearix. Not able to quite make that happen. The running back does time out a little bit there. This is still pretty dicey for Longhorn Gaming, though. They are getting collapsed upon by these players coming from A. Oh. Dorsey will at least get rid of one, and with Kimchi getting a second, you could just take this A long point. You could just run to that side of the map. You know that both A players gone, but yet again, they're just going to hang around in mid instead. Aldrone going to clear up towards that B site, and with Express having pivoted over onto A, there is an opening in the middle of the map, albeit a risky one.
Yeah, it's not exactly an opening so much as it is a trap ready to close, right?
Yeah.
You'd be rotated on by both sides here. You have to pick one side of the map or the other. Fortunately for them, they have guessed correctly. Only one
30
omen
seconds left.
to actually deal with here. And after that, I mean, the 2v2, you've got Kimchi in tow. I got to give Longhorn Gaming a slight advantage, but it's after they get that spike down that it really matters.
Recon Dart gonna get this over. He's inching away. He doesn't clear the corner. Kimchi's got such low health. Will be able to spot that Express leaves. Is he gonna go for the full stick
10
here? This can
seconds
get a little
left.
bit risky, but Express
Spike
isn't gonna risk it
planted.
himself. Thought it might have been a fake. Thought it might have been a bait. Now that Kimchi's been spotted, there's no chance for him. Easy defuse for Embry Riddle.
Good job by Embry Riddle, locking him down in mid, taking out players. I gotta say, the push-up A was really what did it, finding those 2 frags early so that they actually had men to trade out instead of just letting Longhorn be able to take 1v1s and just trade out the entirety of the round like they usually do. That really is what separated things away. Nomicals as well as denying a lot of map pressure with this Odin. Even if he's not getting kills, he's making sure they're not pushing in Garage, they're not disrespecting, because you said it best, right? They value Garage so much early on into these rounds. Well, how do you stop them? Just put a hail of bullets inside there, and then they're not going to want to be entering anytime soon. So a lot of the ways that Embry Riddle has adjusted to this haven't necessarily been in their individual play or to try and beat Longhorn Gaming at their own game. It's more so at shifting up around the map and pulling out different strategies. Great push by Extreve. This is the first time we've actually seen an operate, I believe, in the entirety of this match, so that was bound to catch somebody off.
Now both teams have an operator, right? First round, both teams simultaneously decide to pick that one up. Mr. Catfish not having the same kind of luck with his operator, though. Is even going to have to fall off of sewers, and now doesn't know if somebody has pushed that up necessarily, as those A players have gotten aggressive more than a couple times. So Mr. Catfish just playing slow over toward that A site while the rest of his team tries to find information elsewhere. They should have a vague idea as to where the Sova is based on the position of that owl drone, but it really doesn't give them anything that they can work off of thus far. They're going to try to creep up a little bit towards B. The risky swing from Kimchi, and it does not pay off. So much control of the map, so much information given over to Embry Riddle. It's getting so difficult. Ivan even here will actually get a little bit ambitious, but gets traded out. Nominal with the Odin, going Burr in that window there, able to cover 1-for-1.
He said, get out of my garage. That's
30 seconds left.
This place firmly belongs to this Odin. It feels like Longhorn don't know what to do whenever they're not just allowed to have garage. This Odin has caused so many problems. And again, it doesn't have to find kills. It just has to exist more than anything. And now the operator's causing problems. It's rotated away from A. So, I mean, for all the time that Longhorn Gaming have, which granted isn't much,
10
no matter
seconds
where
left.
they rotate, they just feel like they're going to be running into depth because the Odin's holding down garage. The operator could be on either side of the map, and B is just, I mean, a death sentence pushing in with 2 members. So they're going to trade up their guns for one more round. We're getting to the point, though, where this advantage is starting to be withheld from Longhorn. Embry Riddle have figured out a lot of the ways to stop it from happening, to disallow Longhorn from ever actually taking those duels that they want to by using smart positioning and smart utility.
Well, that operator really didn't do much for Mr. Catfish there. He took a very passive angle, wasn't really gaining much space, and especially once he got spotted. I mean, there was just no way that Embry Riddle was ever going to push him. If you're going to run an op on the attack, you got to play a little bit aggressive with it, right? I'd like to see Gear Rex using some flashes to gain some space, and then Mr. Catfish using the operator to hold those angles, or even just Lear for himself, right? It's not quite as effective as there is that little bit of time difference. Extreme does get that tag through the box there, and Gearx not able. Actually, that was the enemy hot hand, so he's going to use his own to heal himself up alongside the flame wall. Both of those used for healing, though, means they're not able to clear anybody out or take space for Longhorn now.
And they're still trying to push this garage ball, and Nomical still says,
Nice.
"Oh, okay." All right.
He says,
Catfish.
"Oh," as he gets his head or his body just removed from the rest of him. I don't know how you move a body from a body, but Mr. Catfish figured out how to do it. Now C is very vulnerable, though. I mean, they have to move 2 players over here. The op is here. It is largely smoked off, and Garage is being pretty heavily pressured there by that Hunter's Fury. But again, map control doesn't really favor Longhorn Gaming right now.
They're still scared of that Odin. They're still scared of the operator. This jet could realistically be anywhere on the map at this point. They don't know what they're running into.
30 seconds
The one thing
left.
that should be for sure at this point is that the Cypher's playing on A. They need to get past all that util. There's nothing to back this Cypher up. So if they get there quickly, they should be able to trade him out with no problem.
TFG is getting flashed pretty heavily here. He's just going to spray down the line he has seen they're coming from, but that gives his position away. Irex able to find 2 there. Just in the nick of
10
time.
seconds left.
The plant will come
Spike
in for
planted.
Longhorn Gaming. Gotta be careful of Heaven, though. Iva already here. Flashes, but won't be able to catch much and doesn't use that opportunity to actually jump out from Heaven. Actually on a very passive angle there, and with the op showing that it is covering that Heaven angle, you have to imagine Xtreme's gonna save.
Yeah, he's starting to feel like a bit of a trump card, right? For all the times that Embry Riddle want to go garage, there's always just the chance, right? They just send you a gut check and it's going to be a guaranteed round. And that's the second time around that they've managed to get one for that. It wasn't necessarily any individual play. It wasn't necessarily any massive strategical play. Don't get me wrong. This is the strategy for Longhorn,
Yeah.
right? They're going to try and frag out on B and C enough that Embry Riddle have to respect them, have to draw players over. And then every couple of rounds after you start losing a little bit of your footing in the game, just send one over back towards A, get around on the board and just say, hey Longhorn, or hey Embry Riddle, don't forget there's people inside over here, and then you go back to your business on the other side of the map just trying to frag out.
And this has been a very good start for Longhorn Gaming. This is the kind of momentum shift they really needed to see after how Bind went, right? A 13-6, a very dominant map for Embry Riddle, but now at the very least, they're going to walk away from this half with a tie. That is a boon to their mental if I've ever seen one, Dor.
Coming into this one, I'm curious to see what Embry Riddle will do. They didn't rebuy up the Odin, which I don't necessarily... Oh, wow. Okay, that works.
Don't need an Odin if you got the Hunter's Fury, apparently, from
I guess
Nomical
so.
there. That recon dart, not quite going to spot Gear Rex, but they should know that there's a possibility that somebody is in that B cubby there. Still have that one player playing on B site. Is actually going to back out. Nomical's clearing up through grass, too, with that Owl Drone. Yet again, Embry Riddle has so much information where Longhorn Gaming really don't have any.
More mid play, more stuff thrown in. I like that Embry Riddle haven't leaned into A just because they lost one round on it. It's going to be extremely hard push to actually hold on to after the spike goes down. That's assuming it does. There's already players surrounding this nice. Extreme will get one. The smoke is causing so many issues for them. There's very little ways that Longhorn can do this. Pushing on to B is cocky to say the least, right? You're saying, I'm here, I can win every gun duel in the world, and you know what, no matter what operator stuff you have, this B site's gonna be fine. But no.
30
right?
seconds
Embry
left.
Riddle have a lot more than that. You have to be respecting them more than that. Yes, you're winning a lot of your gun duels, but you can't just walk onto B and take it like that.
Especially so slowly, right? I mean, that wasn't really the kind of burst we see from a lot of teams when they go for these B sites. You didn't see the kind of utility cutting off the A and C links there. It was really just the flame wall, the double flashes from Paiva, and he was pretty much alone on that site. There wasn't anybody else pushing up alongside, or not from Paiva, from Gear Rex rather, pushing up along that site there. So not exactly the explosive hit you really need to take that B site, and if you take that long, it's so easy for the defenders to collapse.
And you know what? I'm not convinced Embry Riddle's out of this yet. Longhorn have a lot of momentum, but a lot of that came from the early rounds. They're going to lose their economic advantage at the half. If Embry Riddle wins the pistol round or even makes this half into a 6-tick half, I think Longhorn need to start rethinking a lot of the strategies. They caught Embry Riddle off guard in the beginning. They were playing extremely well to their strengths, but they're going to have to change up their game plan a little bit again on the defensive side, because I feel like that was by far where they struggled most on the prior map of Bind.
And once again, it's this creep towards that B site here for Longhorn Gaming. Owl Drone going forward. This is probably going to spot at least one of them. I believe the gunfire there was heard. An early flash from Gear Rex, but it didn't catch Nomicals. Nomicals with the easy frag there. And you have to imagine Longhorn Gaming pivot somewhere else.
They've learned their lesson here about B. They've drawn out the rotation. 3 members leaning towards B is actually going to make things pretty tricky to deal with.
Nomicals, man. His shock darts are so good. His game sense, his position, the timing on them is phenomenal.
And it's one of those ones, especially when you don't... Oh, no. This
30
is awful
seconds
timing.
left.
Oh, my God. It's a Christmas miracle he didn't get shot in the side of the head there.
Hey, it's still November, all right? I mean, you can put the decorations up. Let's not call it a Christmas miracle yet. Especially since Mr. Catfish just creeps up behind him, dude. Yeah, I don't know if that's what Nomicals was looking for in his stocking door. I think that was closer to a lump of coal.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's not Christmas. It's just the nightmare before. Great stuff there. Way to capitalize on the push, and you know what? It's a great punish for Longhorn. Them ending this round positive at all. Like, above 6 rounds is just gigantic. They would have been happy after the last game to pull out 6 here, but putting yourself in an advantage on the attacking half is exactly what you need to be doing. Because on the defensive side, I think they might struggle just as much unless they can find that confidence in them to be pushing in more aggressively. That'll be it for this round. One more round in the half, an 8-4. I mean, I can't think of a better way for Longhorn to come into map 2.
And Longhorn, they still have the tools to make this round happen too, right? I mean, even if this went to 7-5, it would be very surprising, as they have the run it back, the Empress, the Neural Theft. All they have to do is play for one pick, get some information door, and then they can explode onto whatever site they want with an Empress and a run it back. No one will be able to stop them. There's no Hunter's Fury available. There's no Blade Storm available, right? This is a very dicey round for Embry Riddle. Paiva needs to get something miraculous out of this run it back, and they're playing so passive on the C site, way in the back by Platt.
Oh boy. Here comes the trump card. It's an A push from Longhorn. It's been failed to be stopped every other time, although the Omen playing and leaning more towards A spells a lot better stuff. The Cypher, though, needs to learn how to play this anchor a little bit better. They're not playing around their Jet specifically, although if the Jet rotates back and pulls away, maybe even before getting a kill here, they'll be feeling a lot better about their odds of retaking on A. Although, as we speak, Longhorn position themselves back up in mid, where they've been almost every other round. They just want to frag this one out, but it'll be a lot more difficult to do that because Embry Riddle aren't giving them any of those tools.
Slow creeping here by Mr. Catfish. Yet again, that shock dart. Very well timed there, but Mr. Catfish has actually gotten very far forward here. Nomicals with the random spray through the smoke does get a couple of nice tags. However, you got to use this run it back sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, but this isn't going to go well. Yeah. And that's the problem with playing passive when you got that run it back available, Pyro. Now the run it back's coming out actually for the attacking team. They didn't have to use it to get on the site, so instead, Gearrex can go clear out and get some information here. Finds out that there are 3 players coming from that backside toward the defender's spawn. Insight's pretty low here. And Gearrex does get caught. Suddenly a very winnable situation here for Embry Riddle. Entice so low. Recon Dart is going to help him out. He knows where the smoke is coming from. This position has been given away. A beautiful 1-for-1 trade. But now it's all... Actually, that's it. Yeah, I thought Kimchi was still hanging around, but he actually got caught through the smoke there, it seems. Embry Riddle, they tie it up. Well, not tie it up. But they take the round. It's 5-7 leaving the half.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of kills coming in a very short amount of time. But that's what I was talking about earlier whenever we saw them push out with 5 members down C long to try and hold on to that round. It's just not as dynamic as they would usually like for playing a post plant. A lot of the times their advantage comes because they're able to keep pushing things. They're able to force the duels themselves rather than holding a lot of these angles. They tried to trade one off with the Sova pushing out of C long, but at that point, Embry Riddle were already completely collapsed onto the site. Too much space had been given up. So it's a round loss, but Longhorn still coming out with their heads up. 7-5 after the half. Let's see what they can put together on the defensive side. This is the big question mark for me. Because on Haven, when you have to be rotating so much, when you have to be playing retake all the time, so we saw them really struggle to do unbind. So their options are either play more aggressive or play more heavily on the rotate. It seems like they'll choose the former of those.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Cat this year. They've got plans.
Did we get baited? Oh, I think we got baited here. They're not actually going out of garage as expected. They're going to spot one. Mr. Catfish just going to fall off that angle. Gearrex is here for an early trade. He's going to use that flash, but just to get himself out of garage. So a pretty heavy commitment here from Longhorn Gaming, and they don't get much out of this. Now the Owl Drone is going to go forward, force Gearrex to back up. The tag does miss onto him, but regardless, Piva is going to get that frag and threaten actually over onto Endorsey too. This is all falling to pieces here for Longhorn Gaming. They're not able to get much done over to the C site.
That was a really nice push by Embry Riddle. Just solid stuff, moving off the back of the drone. I'm surprised that they managed to get the frag out on Garage, but the hit stun is pretty nuts. The player got slowed down a lot before going down. 2 left. I mean, you go for it. It's a pistol round. It's nothing too crazy. Maybe a frag out. Maybe you find a couple. But you're not feeling too bad. I believe this actually is Kimchi, so you know what we say, 50-50 odds in almost every single situation.
Kimchi has been a little bit more quiet on this second map, though, of Haven. But certainly fragging out on Pine. And with Kimchi going down, it's all left to Entice in the pistol. Can't make it happen. Good start for Embry Riddle in the pistol.
And I told you, man, even at a half where you're coming out 2 points ahead if you're Longhorn, that pistol round is just vitally important for Embry Riddle, right? You can turn around the momentum, turn around the economy. They win this one. They win the next. They pick up maybe even the third on a gun round. All of a sudden, Longhorn will be floundering and down points as well. They can feel a little bit more comfortable having come out with the lead out of the first half, but they're far from out of the woods right now. They've got to scrounge them together, take a bit of this cash away to feel actually all right about their performance in this round, because not only do they not have as much weaponry, they also don't have the option of getting a plant down in order to get a little bit of extra cash. The defensive side is definitely a tricky position to be in. It's a push up B here, and I like this a lot from Embry Riddle. They're going to choose to push up this direction because if they get the spike down, they could just play range. They could play up through mid, just put a smoke down. They don't find much fruitfulness there. They don't find the frag, but it's pressure, and that's all they need, because with these weapons, they know they have the pick advantage. They just need to stick together.
Just slow play from Embry Riddle right now. They are going to push into garage, and you can probably expect this to be a hit towards C. Gearrex has pushed up over towards that C-long cubby here. Is playing very close, so if he is not anticipated here, he could get one. If they don't clear cubby, that should be at least one frag for Gearrex, but you have to imagine they know he's here. You have to imagine they expect it, and they will. Still gets one, so not terrible for Gearrex, but things not going too well for the rest of his team. At least Kimchi will upgrade to a Spectre, but Entice just on a shorty. Kimchi not having much health. Very difficult retake.
He's going to run with this shorty. He's killing 3. That for sure.
I don't know if I agree.
He's gonna run in, use his Cypher dash, and get close range to...
Did they? No. I know they changed Cypher. I didn't think they gave him a dash, Thor.
Look at him go! I told you the 1v3 inbound.
Well, he just dash in,
get the other one.
He's
gonna dash. Though. And because Kimchi only had 23 health, it didn't actually happen. So, haha, Dor. I was right.
All right. All my joking aside, though, that's a solid round for the defense. They pick up a couple of frags, they get some cash in their pockets. The plant goes down. You don't win a round, but it's about as good as you could do without actually winning the round. So they'll be on a buy. They force Embry Riddle to invest all their cash into a buy, and now both of these teams' economies are going to be lying on a knife's edge. It feels like Embry Riddle wants to kind of pull back here and make sure that they have enough cash for another buy off this. No, TFG and Nomicals. They're going for it. The whole enchilada. Oh, God. That got loud real quick.
Gearx is very glad
jumped
he
in my
was not
seat.
standing 2 inches to his left right now, because if he was, he would be very dead. Hot Hands is going to at least prevent a push through, but that does give information that the Phoenix will be playing inside Garage to Embry Riddle. They're going to spot the Reina too on B. This gets a little bit dicey. Oh, beautiful Hot Hands there from Piver. Takes out Gearx up in the window. This is already a rough start for Longhorn Gaming. They're just going to have to back up too. I don't believe much can be done. And Dorsey has just hidden away inside this smoke. He's going to be able to pop out there too, but he mistimes the last one. Thought Nomicals was pushing around the box. Instead, Nomicals just goes straight for the frag. It is a 2v3, but very low health for Embry Riddle. And they're not going to be able to get the spike down. They're just going to run it across the map.
This is such a good position, right? The second Ace found out, he cuts off half the map. There's no chance of a flank, which means that they're only going to have to watch Heaven and the defender spawn once they get that spike down. Oh, well,
30
they got
seconds
found out by the
left.
camera. And they're floundering, actually. It looks like Embry Riddle doesn't quite know where they want to go. Pushing back through the camera anyway. Oh, my God. Never mind. They just wanted to look like they were floundering. They pulled back after killing the camera. Trapwire is going to give up the jig, but TFG rotating maybe a hair early here, actually. And Tyson
10
going to hear
seconds
that.
left.
Now knows where they have to work on and where they need to be careful. Could turn this back into a 2v2 very quickly.
I mean, but shout out to TFG, dude. He
2v1
played the long con in Garage there. Expected that some players would at least be hanging around and able to catch Mr. Catfish unaware. Now it's just going to be the save for Entice. He knows that he's not going to be able to pull this 1v3 off. He knows that this was a pivotal round for them. He needs to keep what fragments of the economy he can for Longhorn, as Embry Riddle are going to take the lead. It's going to be 8-7. And once again, Longhorn Gaming on their defense. So it's looking a little rough, Dor.
And he's searching for Entice here, which is a pretty good idea. Taking any bit of economy away from Longhorn is nice. I actually think it's a little bit better for Embry Riddle to try and hold on to 3 of their weapons here, though. Because they've already got a bit of cash backing it. They have, I believe, about 2,000 on 3 of their players coming out of the last one, which is effectively going to build up into 1 more round's worth of cash after a solid win like that. So, I don't think you can say the same about Longhorn. They've got 1 Vandal to toss around. They've turned it into an awkward half-buy. But their odds are not looking great. They're losing momentum, and they can't figure out how to force those gun duels the same way they were on the attacking side. Oh, this is one way of doing it. Oh my God. This is going to get bloody. I'm not sure who's going to die, but people are dying.
This is about to be a massacre here. Gearx just waiting until they stop firing so that he can actually try and go for this swing out. This actually just gives cover for Endorsey to push up pretty aggressively here. Do Embry Riddle respect the fact that somebody could have pushed this way? Now they will, as there's just bullets flying everywhere. It is a war zone right now. But ultimately, Embry Riddle come out on top.
I mean, I don't think there's much analysis. I think we all knew how that round was going when we saw the start. I mean, I respect it. They went for it, and they didn't get it, but they got a couple. I'll give them that much. That's still Embry Riddle lying on a very nice chunk of change all up in their back pockets. Longhorn, they did what they could with that round, got a couple of kills, but this is one that matters. They've got real guns in their hands. They're looking to stabilize here. If they can't set the economy right here, it's going to get real out of hand for Embry Riddle in the same way that it was on Bind. It's going to be incredibly hard to turn that economy around, right? You think back to the first 4 rounds of their attacking side on Bind, in the same way that they struggled to find that momentum. Well, it's the same in the opposite way here. They're not able to force those fights, and especially at a weapons disadvantage, you don't really have that option. We saw what happened when they went mid last round. I mean, I think everybody knows that they're not going to be going for that one again.
Another lurk into C long here. This time it's in Dorsey. So he has a lot of presence on this side of the map, but it is Entice all alone over on the A site. Is going to spot the Cypher up in A long. And with trap wires getting revealed here, getting destroyed, and especially now that the run it back comes out, you have to imagine Longhorn know this is going to be A, but they're not going to go really for him. Too much spicy stuff. They don't have the ult necessary, and that run it back clears so much space. So easy plant, 5 versus 5 in this retake.
I like retake on A lot here. Oh,
nice.
Gorgeous Hot Hands forces them out of position. They know one corner will be clear, which turns this into not a 50-50 angle anymore. Mr. Catfish should just be able to peek left here. That's all they need to worry about. Beautiful paranoia from the Omen. Dodged it. Mr. Catfish still taken out, though. One underneath. Hell, half HP here. Great stuff from Gearx. Turns it into a 3v3.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Flash there. Can't quite hit the shots onto Entice. Kaiba playing the time now.
One enemy
Gonna be
remaining.
able to get that one, and Tights go low. Will get taken out on the flank, on the angle from TFG. Embry Riddle. That got a little bit dicey for him, Dora, but they lock it down.
That was almost so good for Longhorn, too. If there's a site that I want that 3v3 on, a lot of the time it's going to be, or the 5v5 on, A is not a bad option, right? People have learned how to storm this out. You high hands out the hardest angle to actually push in on that entire thing. Have a member up heaven. You could realistically look at cleaning that one up. But it was right when they got in, not getting the frag onto the Phoenix in hell is just shutting that entire thing down, right? You need momentum to retake A. When you retake A successfully, it happens in like 2 seconds flat. It's crazy, right? It just kills everywhere. And it's a 5v5. But they didn't give themselves that time, and now it's quick B. Oh boy.
Oh, that hot hands doesn't quite clear out Dorsey, but a dash on from Xtreve will. Xtreve just entering in, fragging, creating so much space for his team at that. The spike has been dropped a little bit here. Mr. Catfish does give away his position with that Devour, unfortunately. So now it's all on to Entice. All
Spike
alone
planted.
in this 1v3. Yet again, I feel like we've said this
Is
a
he rolling
couple
his
times
camera?
for Entice.
Wait, what is...
No, he doesn't. It's a visual bug. He's
Is
got
it
his
visual
gun out
bug?
right
Okay.
now.
That's a very hand-looking gun.
Yeah, you can actually see right now on the silhouette that he does have his gun
What's
out.
this look like when he shoots? Oh,
It just
Wow.
snaps back to the gun, yeah. But unfortunately, Entice unable to snap to the heads there of TFG. So, unfortunate. And yet another round lead. Embry Riddle, they're just 2 away from shutting this down. Longhorn Gaming have yet to put together a round on their defense.
Patch 1.11 is wild. I love it. This just gets better with every round. I swear. Embry Riddle look great, though. Like you said, they're setting themselves up for success. Longhorn aren't going to be able to really patch together much of a buy here. In fact, they're going for the hero on Mr. Catfish, and I like that a lot. Been a real top performer on the arena. Of course, you have opportunity for the momentum. I would be very unsurprised to see this push up a short, but that takes a lot of confidence. And Kimchi pushing forward here. I think they heard a little bit of noise, but they're pushing on relatively every single front. And that, not even relatively, very literally every single front ball.
You have to imagine that somebody expects this. No.
Oh, he's dead. He's done.
This is such a vulnerable
He's done,
position.
though.
Such an easy frag for Kimchi here. He's actually going to go for the smoke, and Girex is able to cover for him out of Garage 2. Kimchi does know that there's somebody up in this window here. Just barely playing with that angle, too. Express is going to have to back on out. He doesn't have enough information. Oh, what a flick from Kimchi. He's not going to be able to get the third, but this is already more than enough damage done. Oh, the Sova does get spotted here, and TFG will be able to put that one together, and it doesn't cost him too much health either. So still, Embry Riddle, rough start to the round, but still very winnable.
Winnable is definitely in question, right? I know it's a 2v3. I know the numbers say like they can do this, but they have no map control. They have no clue where any of these Longhorn players are.
30
Right, they
seconds
saw
left.
Phoenix at the beginning of the round over there. They've seen a Cypher, at least heard him over towards A, and they're fortunate to get C, but even the retake here is going to be so strong. They have little to no information. They have no
taking so much
information
time.
gathering abilities. The best thing they have
Spike.
are these 3 cloudbursts and their wits about them.
And they're taking so much time here. Garage is going to be such
10
a strong
seconds
position
left.
for Girex to contest from. He's actually just going to go out and get a gun first. Knows that the spike is going to go down, not going to bother trying to stop it. Instead, just going to make sure he has the optimal firepower for this retake. It is 3 versus 2 here. 2 real guns, and one's all that's needed.
Wow.
Girex with the easy 2-piece there for 3 in the round total. Longhorn Gaming. First round on their defense, none too soon, as they avoid giving over a 12th round to Embry Riddle.
I state again, Longhorn Gaming are at their strongest when they just duct tape the word deathmatch at the top of their screen. Kimchi ran forward, didn't give a damn about anything that Embry Riddle were doing. A beautiful trade by Girex, might I add. Like, that was, mwah, like chef's kiss out of Garage to trade him out. What a great way to follow up, then closing out the round, just playing the retake, playing how they know how to, winning their gun duels. That's how you want to be playing this defensive side, and I want to see that confidence out of them more often. I know it's not exactly meta, but you need to just learn to play to your strengths. You're not like TSM, you're not Essential. You need to be playing perfect Valorant. You need to be playing your Valorant. And it feels like Longhorn Gaming, over the course of Haven, they've learned that, but the defensive side still eludes them a little bit because it's really hard to shake that idea of, I need to be sitting here. I need to just be holding and defending. And now they're all retreating back. There's some hard rotations going over towards the C side, which are very punishable. They'll be playing retake on A at best here should the push come through.
Well, and if this push comes through now, Entice is just done for, right? I He does have that trap wire to give him a little bit of information, increases survivability a tiny bit, but I mean, it doesn't seem like he has a camera right now. Mr. Catfish has rotated back to cover this angle in heaven. He does trigger that cage. Nobody clears him right now. Nobody looks short and tight. Yet again, the fact that the angles are not systematically cleared by Embry Riddle is going to cost them dearly. They're going to lose 3. Neural Theft is going to reveal where the last 2 are. And Longhorn Gaming are coming out of this round smelling like a rose thus far. And Entice, ooh, can't quite put the 4th down, but I mean, Express's position has been known, and he's in a 1v4.
I mean, that was just impatient by Embry Riddle. I don't know what else to tell you. Check your corners, man. Oh. That's all it really was to that one. It's not likely. The Express has looked good, though. And Paranoia through, no. Oh, well, he's dead. That's it. Oh, ooh. Picks up the gun just in time, but yeah, definitely not enough to win that one. When we see Longhorn come around early with the frags, they're very good at closing it out. I don't think this match is as one-sided as I think a lot of the scorelines, especially for Bind, would tell you. It was just a matter of Longhorn finding their footing, and now this one becomes a lot closer because the economy of Embry Riddle isn't going to be as nearly good of a spot as it has been in rounds prior. Whoever wins this round is certainly going to be coming ahead, as if not just bolstering that of Longhorn. If Longhorn win this one, this is something that could honestly carry them out to the end of the game.
Or at least very close to it. It would at least all but guarantee them a tied scoreline here.
Revealing area.
Recon's art is going to go toward that back of C and allow for Express to grab that last ult orb that he needed for his ultimate. Beautiful Hunter's Fury. Only gets the 1 tag, though, and the last one won't quite be able to take out that Reyna playing deep in the back of sight. Is that Owl Drone, too, here? Will spot Nomicals, but meanwhile, the rest of his team is on the other side of the map, and once again, Longhorn have been baited towards a very heavy commitment to the C's site. It does seem that one will consider this, and Dorsey going back towards A to support Entice.
I swear, every time you say Dorsey, I'm like, what am I supposed to be seeing? It gets me. I look at my screen. I'm like, is there someone missing? No. Push into A though is aggressive. Oh no,
they're not gonna miss Entice twice, are they? They can't miss him twice. Okay,
they know. No, they
there.
don't.
Nomical's just barely gonna be able to take him down and save TFG's life there. Mr. Catfish going for the contest. The spike has been planted. This is a very aggressive and early push coming out, and it might just bite them here. Gearx able to pick up one and run it back. With just 2 now available. 1 in heaven, already down, and Gearx is all alone. His position is given away. I'd like to see him go for the save, and instead he's going to push up while still revealed. Nomical's shutting it down. Match point now for Embry Riddle.
Match point.
That's a big one for Embry Riddle. The entire match actually could have lied on that round alone. If they lost it, their economy was not great. They weren't going to have guns to buy. Longhorn would have been able to ride it out until the end of the game. That's all changed. The script is flipped. Embry Riddle are back in the driver's seat. They've got cash for not only this round, but rounds following as well, should they even lose those ones. But that one round, they've made things infinitely harder for Longhorn, who will continue to just be on a drip feed for the rest of this game. Let's see whether or not they can hold on or take us to a map 3.
And as a reminder, the format here in Conference 1 is such that there are 2 groups where you play a round robin of 3 matches. So if you start out 0-1, the chance that you get out of the group, the chance that you place in the top 2 becomes vanishingly small. As you would have to win the next 2 matches and then hope for some help. Longhorn Gaming, they need to avoid that if they want to end up in that bracket play in 2 weeks' time. Good start, but it'll get immediately traded out. And now they'll run it back and go onto the site, clear this out entirely for this plant. But it is actually Paiba sitting with the spike. He's not going to be able to plant that very quickly, but it hardly even matters at this point. And Dorsey's position is going to get spotted over toward B. And this has suddenly become almost impossible for Longhorn Gaming. TFG roaming around towards mid. Oh, God, these shock darts are so good from Nomicals, man. It's unbelievable the amount of value he's able to get out of these. And now that Owl Drone going towards the defender spawn, easily going to spot Entice here.
He's just having the worst time. Got everything thrown at him. TFG will finish off one more. He's got low HP. Could beat this one wide. Nice kill by the Cypher. Could find his way out of the corner. I mean, he's a couple headshots away, but Oh no, and the flame barrier is up in front of him. If he walk, he
can't
could
even
just
push
die
it.
walking through this. Yeah.
He can't even push it. He's going to use that camera to try and force one off the angle, but just has to wait, and when that wall drops, Nomicals is ready. 13-9 to finish us off. Embry Riddle claimed the 2-0 and their first win here in this round of the Conference 1 Valorant tournament.
I gotta say, well deserved. They looked bamboozled in the first half. It was just that Longhorn couldn't figure out how to use their aggression to their advantage in the defensive half. And that's something that I think they may struggle with for a little bit. And I think they've really figured out the attacking side. They look fantastic. They know what they need to do. They know where they can be confident. They know what they can use to get there. It's just utilizing those tools on the defensive side is just so much more difficult, especially on a map like Bind. On Haven, they had a bit more of a chance to get their way in there, but weren't able to at the end of the day. So huge congratulations to Embry Riddle because they stabilized well. They played the second half beautifully, and they got in there for a clean 2-0 win.
And I got to give it up to Nomicals, man. I mean, even beyond the shock darts, right? I feel
stellar.
like it was just really good use of the utility in general. The reason that one round, I believe the second to last round, doesn't fall apart there, doesn't end up with Entice getting another crazy angle that nobody cleared, is because of his recon dart, Nomicals that is, and Nomicals being ready to pick up the frag too. TFG, Xtreve, they were both very vulnerable to Entice sitting in that corner, but Nomicals locks it down time and time again alongside the rest of his team.
Yeah, I mean, solid play all around from Embry Riddle. It'll continue to be their biggest strength is their ability to play around their composition and the agents that they have. I think their bind might actually be one of the toughest things to break for any of these teams,
Very
because
strong.
with Killjoy being one of the newest things in the meta, people don't know often how to rotate around her. We saw that Longhorn was struggling a good bit with figuring out how to play against and with their own Killjoy. I feel like Embry Riddle has both of those down pat. Their bind is going to be incredibly hard to beat for any team that wants to try and take them down.
Yeah, good start for Embry Riddle. That'll be it here, though, for today for the Conference 1 Valorant tournament. I believe we're going to be back tomorrow, though, folks, right here on this very channel. Make sure you're following here and also over on Twitter so that you can get all the updates and know when all the matches are. I believe the next match will start off at 7 p.m. Eastern, so 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow right here on this channel. It's going to be hopping over into the other group, if I'm not mistaken, as well, so you get even more teams. That'll be it for myself and Dor for today, though. We'll see you back tomorrow for more Conference 1 Valorant.
I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. I smile back, put me away. You understand? There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. I wanna leave. You understand? I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Take my hand, call my name. You understand, I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away.
Real love, now I see you. Yeah, you know I do, to make it through the times we had. I see it now, I see it now. Real love, now I break through to show to you that I'm more good than I am bad.
I'll work it out.